What up? What up? What up, man? I want to thank everybody for coming in to and joining us on another episode of My Cream Podcast, man. Today I am super hyped. I'm super pumped. We got a special guest. We got a celebrity in the house today, man. We got a celebrity. We got Dr. Tameka Price all the way from Georgia in the house today.
Hello, everyone. Hope you all are doing well today. How are you doing, Mr. Patterson?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm excited to have you with us today.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
so look, we ain't gonna waste a whole lot of time. We're gonna jump right into this thing.
Okay.
Uh, Dr. Price, can you
Yes.
tell the people just a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, you know, where you grew up at, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I am a Georgia peach, um, homegrown, Southwest Georgia. If you blink, you might miss us. Home of the Miller County Pirates. Colquitt, Georgia is my home where I was born and raised. Um, since I have relocated, I am now in Atlanta, Georgia, but Colquitt will always be my home. And sharing a little bit about my journey, it's an interesting journey. Actually, I talked about some of it in my first book, which is Rediscovering Passion and Purpose in a Crisis.
Hold
And
on now, hold on. You ain't just gonna hit us over the head like that right there now. Come on now. First book, so that means there's more books out there.
I'm actually halfway finished with my second book. It's called Rahab's Tears. And it kind of picks up with this second journey of my life, where we've kind of made it through trying to figure out about career, etc. And now we're journeying through, the grown folk stuff. And
Okay, okay.
so, yeah, so hopefully that one will actually be finished by the end of this month and ready for sale at the beginning of next year. Hopefully, I'll be participating in a national business expo for women beginning in April of next year. So definitely want to have it completed. Yeah, want to have it completed and ready for purchase by the time I go to the first expo in Phoenix next April.
So now let me
So,
ask you this right here now.
uh
So now we know you. Now we know you from Miller County. You from Colquitt, Georgia. Now that one day you just wake up and all this just came out the sky for you.
yes and no. Growing up in a single family home, just me and my mom, growing up in small town USA, you don't really have, you know, big inspirations and so forth. So you're just like, mama went to work, she, made a living. And at the core, that was pretty much what I was taught. And as I got older and I started, expanding my reach in high school, I started kind of journeying and networking with people who were, you know, going to college or they had these different kinds of jobs. And I'm like, well, how did you do that? What did you go to school for? College was something that wasn't really, talked about much. And so I am a first generation college graduate. I'm the
Mm.
first one in my family with a doctoral degree. And so I would tell anybody networking is very important because not only do you get to just really expand career wise, but sometimes you run into people who actually can help cultivate those dreams. And so for me, my mom, she always believed in me and so forth, but I was able to reach out and expand to other people who can help me to actually carry that dream to the next level. Okay, this is what you need to do to get prepared for college. This is what you need to do to obtain this job and sit on this interview and so forth. And so eventually I came into my own and, started realizing this is the recipe for success for me. Now, that recipe looks different for everybody. And my journey of discovery, which is what inspired me to write my first book, has been about trying to understand who I am at my core. If I took away all of the degrees, the work experience, if I take all of these things away, who am I? What am I passionate about? What am I purpose for? Why am I here? And so when I started really focusing on that, a lot of the things that I started out doing, um, I really don't do a lot of those things anymore, but they are all connected in some sort of way. Being able to um, educate people on different things financially wise, tax laws and those types of things. All of that started with, the desire to do something that I could use numbers with because I always have been a math whiz and
So
and
now
being
let me ask
organized.
you this. Let me ask you this. So
Mhm.
now doing the taxes or being in that industry, was that there before you started your educational empire, or did that come later?
It actually came, well, I say later. My bachelor's is in accounting. And
Mm.
so when I first started college, I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to do something with numbers. And by the time I finished my second year of college, I said, you know what? I think I'm going to go into accounting because I like numbers, and I'm neat. But when I finished my bachelor's degree, I didn't go right into taxes. I worked in, different areas, and then I decided that I wanted to, um, at the suggestion of my master's degree instructor, take a course sponsored by the FDIC to become a certified Money Smart instructor. And one of
Ooh.
the things they
Oh,
did.
now, hold now. Hey, you just dropped some I ain't never heard of, okay? And I've been around for a minute. Now, explain that to us. A money
it's
instructor.
it's a course, and it actually was somehow embedded. It's been literally over 10 years ago, almost 15 now.
Mhm.
That was embedded into my master's degree program at Albany State. Go Rams.
Shout out to the
Um,
Rams.
that's right. That's right. That's why I received my master's degree. And one of my professors suggested that I actually take this course called, I think it was actually called FDIC Money Smarts. And basically, what they do is they just teach you about, taxes. Um, it's basically like an economic course on personal finances.
Okay.
I think it was probably like a 6 week, 8 week course or something like that. And at the end of the course, you're considered a certified FDIC Money Smart instructor, which means I get to go around and teach others, about personal finances and how to prepare taxes and those types of things. And so that's how I actually got into wanting to actually do taxes. And, I was already pretty much doing my own taxes. But, sometimes when you grow up in an environment where all you've been taught is to go to work and get a good job, keep that job, retire that job. Entrepreneurship is kind of like taboo. It's something that's not really discussed. And so I just stuck with being my own personal tax preparer. I actually did not step into that arena until probably about 10 years after my certification as an FDIC Money Smart instructor. But by
So now,
that time,
let me ask you this now.
mhm,
So now you step into that arena. Now, have you finished the masters at this point?
at this point, I had finished the master's, and I was actually a tax auditor for the state of Georgia. And so I had literally been a state auditor for probably about 6 years, before I decided I want to step out and I actually want to become a business owner preparing taxes for other people. And
Okay,
so I
so you
just
working for the folks, and you gonna come back and help us folks.
right, right. So now I'm able to, come and drop some real knowledge in your ear because hey, I'm on both sides of the spectrum now. I know what your taxes need to look like because I'm the one that's going around auditing the taxes. And so I decided, to step out on faith. And I was an auditor and I was a tax business owner for years before I just truly decided to pursue my tax business full time. It was a journey, you know. I wouldn't just tell anybody to just jump out there into entrepreneurship full time because everybody's journey is different. But for me, I felt like that was something that God was truly calling me to do. And that was
So,
kind of like
so,
my process.
so let me ask this: what gave you the confidence? So, cream is confidence rules everything around me. Okay,
Hmm.
and cream it's a three-part series. Confidence rules everything around me. Coaching rules everything around me. Christ rules everything around me. What gave you the confidence to step out there and say, "Man, I can do this"?
It took some time. And honestly, I was literally sitting in my chair one day. I was working from home and I was
Mhm.
like, God, this is just not fulfilling. There's got to be, something more for me. And so I was just journaling, on my tablet, and I was actually listening to an episode sermon on television, and it was like a light bulb literally just went off in my head. You need to
Mm.
open a tax business, like literally. I can't even really explain. Um, and at that time, I think my confidence was there because sitting in my chair that August of 2014, I
Mm.
decided I wanted to open a tax business. In January of 2015, I opened my tax business. And so I think over the years, building up that confidence was something that took a lot of time for me. Being able to go out though and audit, big business clients and so forth and sit down and being able to actually converse with them one on one, it built my confidence. And hey, you need to know your laws. You need to be able to hold conversations with people, be able to look them in the eye, one on one and say, hey, this is what you need to do. This is not right. All of those things took time for me. And I really felt like working with the state is actually what built up that confidence in me to be able to step out on my own. Because now I was bold enough to say what I need to say and do what I needed to do. And when I thought of the idea, I think that was kind of already in place.
Wow. So now you open up the tax business. Was there anybody? Did you have a mentor? Did you have a coach? Was it somebody that guiding you along the way?
I think that my godmother, she was very instrumental in just, helping me to actually, just be confident. She was a business owner herself. And so she knew the challenge that I was facing as far as, wanting to opening a business in a small town where everybody knowing you was actually more of a challenge than people think. And so just being able to actually have somebody to kind of coach me, not so much as on the logistics of it, but just to keep my head in the game and to help me to stay confident and stay the course. Because when you're starting out, 50% to 75% of businesses don't make it through those first 3 to 4 to 5 years. And
Right.
so those are your challenging years that really challenge you and test your patience and what you really have, or do you have what it takes to stay in the game? And so just, her being on my side, keeping me, hey, just stick with it. You got this, don't give up. Of course, it's hard. Anything new, it takes time. And so I think, her having her business acumen and just being spiritual, that really helped a lot.
Okay, okay. So now let's do a recap. So
Hmm.
you from Southwest Georgia, you from Miller County,
Hmm.
you graduate, you go to you went to Albany State first, right?
I went to Georgia Southwestern and got
Georgia
my
Southwest.
bachelor's, and
Got
then
your back.
Albany State.
Then Albany State. Then you go work for the man, go work for them folks. Then you leave the folks, you come back, you say, I'm gonna help my folks open up a tax business.
Hmm.
You got your coaching, you got now at that point, have you started the doctorate degree?
Yes. I actually started the doctoral degree, I think 2009 or 10. Um, and I had it's like everything was just happening at one time because I actually started working as an auditor and I was working on my doctoral degree at the same. I started both of them pretty much around the same time. And
Okay.
so I was juggling, you know, my full-time job, and I was juggling my doctoral degree. And then when I opened up my business, I was still working on my doctoral degree, and I was still working full time. And now I have a business. So it's like I was juggling, and I was still a single mother, you know. And so it was like I was just juggling so many things at one time. That I
Man,
was like, God, I just don't know if I'm going to make it. And so you have to have that support system, though. You know, you have to have that support system to stay mentally tough because it can get to be a bit overwhelming.
wow. Now that listen. You got a testimony. You got a couple testimonies in there that you can
Mhm.
go in to any church on Sunday and preach on right
You know, people
But not
ask me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
so now like the endurance. Because most people, like, so I use myself for example. I got my bachelor's and then I started on my master's.
Mm,
And right now I am probably one, maybe 2 semesters from having my MBA. And then I switched out and I said, I want me a teaching degree. You know? And so I started all the way back over, working with the teaching, and then I was like, man, listen, I don't even need no masters no more. So and I don't even know what stopped me, you know. But how did you continue? How did you have the endurance? Like, what's the motivation for you to keep going through all of that?
You know, if I would have, what I'm about to say, if I would have had this years ago, I probably could have saved myself a lot of headache. But when you are aligned with your passion and your purpose, God gives you a grace to be able to handle
Mm,
things.
mm,
And it was that grace that kept me, you know, because you're talking about a single mother with 3 children, a full-time job, a business, and working on a PhD. And it was like, you know, there were times where I felt like giving up, don't get me wrong. Um, I think that people, you know, when they get tired, they want to quit. But that's when that grace steps in to help you keep going. Right. You know, and I'm talking about there were times, there was literally one time where I sent a message to my district chairperson and I said, I'm done. I quit. I just can't. And she picked up her phone and she called me and she said, Tameka, you're 95% of the way there. The half the battle is literally won. Why are you quitting now? And I said, I'm tired. I just don't feel like I can do anymore. Because, you know, when you're working on a dissertation and you've got 3 or 4, however many committee members, you're trying to satisfy all of them. And I had one that she was just, you know, she was just, she was tough. She was a tough critic. And at that time, I felt like I was just, you know, on the verge of just collapsing, literally. But when you're aligned, and it's so important to be aligned with what God has called you to do, because He will always give you the grace to press through. It doesn't mean that you won't be tired or you won't feel like quitting, but you know, as Philippians 4 and 13 tells us, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so you have to learn how to lean into his grace and his strength and stop depending so much on your physical attributes or your mental, whatever you have, and just say, Lord, I'm in the middle of this journey. I'm tired. I want to quit, but I'm trying to keep going, and he will meet you halfway. He will meet you whatever point you're at, whether it is halfway or you're just beginning or you're almost at the end. He would meet you there and carry you the rest of the way. And you know, I tell people it was nobody but God that just pulled me through. But when you align yourself with what He's called you to do, you'll be surprised at what you can actually accomplish. You know, because I've told so many people, you know, the stories of how people said I should give up, you know, you shouldn't do this, you've got too many kids, and oh, you're a small town country girl, you can't accomplish those things. And now I have a book, you know, that's on sale in Walmart, you know. I have another book I'm
right.
halfway through, and a publisher that's actually reached out to me about helping me to publish this book. And it's not even finished, you know. Yeah, I have a
That's what I'm talking
franchise.
about.
I have a
That's what I'm
franchise.
talking about.
I'm getting ready to start, attending the National Expo to be able to speak to women all over the country and share my story. And so it's like, had I just listened to other people, I can't even think about what all I would have lost, what all I
Right.
have to lose because I'm still on my journey. And so I would say one thing in addition to that is to learn how to turn off that outside noise. Because
Mm,
most people that are telling you what you can't do are only telling you that because they don't believe they can do it. And so if you
right.
settle with that, then you'll just be two people, crabs in the bottom of the bucket, just pulling other people down because you don't see how you can get out of it.
Right. And so let me ask you this right here. So I constantly talk to people about, I just talked to my daughter about it this morning. If you understand your gift, the authors will live, love, and lead how to transform your life from ordinary to exceptional. If you find your purpose, then you will find the gift that God gave you. Now, I found mine through my passion. My passion was football. I started coaching, and I thought, oh, that's what I'm here for, coach football. And then I found out that my gift, part of my purpose, let me say my purpose, uh, is to motivate and inspire, and I say motivate, inspire the next generation of leaders. And so
Hmm.
that's what I've been doing. And all this other stuff came with it. Now, what would you advise people on? How do you find your passion? Let's start with the passion. How do you know what your passion is?
But for me, it's things that get me pumped, Um, it's one of those things, and I'm not going to turn this into a Bible class, but I remember a preacher preaching on the sermon about when Mary and Elizabeth were both pregnant, and Mary came to Elizabeth's house, and John hadn't been moving in the womb, and all of a sudden Mary shows up pregnant with Jesus, and all of a sudden Elizabeth's womb begins to jump. And he said, you need to find something that makes your baby leap. What is it that
Mm,
just, puts fire to you, makes you just wanna, whatever it is. And for me, it's motivating people. Like I get a rush, when people come to me, just wanting encouragement or, needing some type of advice about something. And so I would say your passion is something that, you know, you would do it for free. If you never made a dime, you would do it for free and you wouldn't even feel upset or bad about it. It would still give you a sense of fulfillment because that's just what you love to do. And what people don't realize is that, you're giving that passion, but you're also giving talents and gifts to go along with that passion for a reason. And all of that, in a sense, cultivates your purpose. So if it's
mm,
something that you just enjoy doing, like I say, whether you do it for free or pennies on the dollar, and you get a rush from it, you're excited about it, it gets you pumped. Those are things you're passionate about. And then when you think about what you're passionate about, think about what you're talented at. And I guarantee you will find a way where you can put the two together.
right.
And that is all a part of your purpose.
That's right.
So
And the other thing to add to that, 'cause I ain't gonna turn this into a Bible class either. But you can be fired from your job, but you can't be fired from your gift because God gave
exactly.
you that gift, and that gift gonna make room for you on earth.
That's
You'll
right.
be able to provide for you and your family,
Mhm.
and eventually you'll be able to leave an inheritance. So
Right.
I'm with you on that right now. You
And
know,
people say, and it's true, that knowledge is something that can't be taken away from you. But when you think about your passions, they can't be taken away from you either. What you're naturally gifted with, it can't be taken away from you either. So that's why I like to say strip yourself down to the core. Take away the degrees, all that stuff. That makes you who you truly are, at your core. Because even if you don't have the degree for something specific, you still have the passion for it. You still have talents. And so I think that a lot of people, especially this younger generation, they're so focused on, oh, I just want a job that makes a lot of money. But
Right.
then as they get older, like us, you start saying that money is, it's okay, but you need peace. You
Right.
need some peace at night. You want to be able to sleep. It's not all about money. And so I tell people, if you chase your passion, then prosperity will chase you. Because
Mm,
if it's something you're truly passionate about, you're going to put your all into it because that's what you enjoy doing, you know. And so if the only thing you're chasing is money, then you're setting yourself up for failure because it's
right.
not, the aspect of life does not truly lie in what you have materialistically, but it's about what lies within you. And so I'm working on an alignment seminar that I would like to do at the end of this month. And one of the things that I'm focused on teaching is helping people to align themselves. You know, think about your passions, go back to the core, of who you truly are, and then start making decisions from that point. Don't make decisions from the outside in, make decisions from the inside out, and then you will see your life unfold in an entirely different direction.
Man, listen. We getting some gems dropped from the doc today, man. The doc came on here dropping some gems today. So, doc, let me ask you this now. So, we, you got. So let me recap. You got tax business, author. You're doing a national tour. You got the seminar at the end of the month.
Hmm.
Now, how do you find the time plus mom? Okay,
Yeah.
how do you find the time to make all this happen?
Ugh, s- scheduling as best as I can. I try to stick to a schedule. I try, but it's so much going on that it's like sometimes some stuff just got to get in where it fits in. But I have to have a reminder. I have reminders everywhere, sticky notes, my cell phone. I just have to, my email is going off and I just have to, but I try to stick with the schedule because I tell people that if you don't have some type of structure, you know, it's really not gonna work the way you want it to because you're gonna find yourself just stretched thin because you have so much going on. And then one other thing is I try not to overextend myself, which is probably like you got a lot going on for somebody that's not overextended already. But I try not to overextend myself too. So
Okay, okay.
it's like you
Now,
just have to know your capacity.
right, right. I'm with you on that. Now we got this season about to come up, and I know it's about to get real hectic for you. So I'm glad I could get you on. So we got this tax season come up. What do you want people to know that they need to start doing right now in preparation for that?
Ugh, briefing yourselves. I always tell people, don't depend so much on your tax preparer. Some things you definitely want to know for yourself. And this season coming up is going to be different because so many, tax laws have transpired throughout this year. And so I like to tell people just brief yourselves. You don't have to actually know it verbatim, in and out. You have to know it in your sleep because some of it is Greek. But I always tell people to just at least know a little bit of it. Just kind of prepare yourselves because you don't want to sit down and you're thinking you're going to get this astronomical refund and you find out, oh, well, this is all I'm getting. For instance, with this advanced child tax credit, some people were getting the advance throughout the year. Well, July through December, this is the last month to receive it. which means that their refund next year will be reduced dollar for dollar for the amount that they actually received this
Mm.
year. So when you file your taxes in 2022 for the calendar year 2021 and you receive those credits, then your refund will be reduced by whatever dollar amount you actually received in the calendar year 2021. And I don't think a lot of people, are quite understanding that. Most people just see, hey, you can get some of your money now. Do you want it? But they don't read the fine print. And
Right,
so I like to tell people just kind of verse yourselves on some things, just glimpse the IRS website, or they put a lot of good information on their Twitter page also. And so, you don't have to know everything word for word, but you do want to just know enough.
right. Okay, okay. So now, what would you advise people on how to choose a tax preparer?
I
What should
think
they look for?
a lot of people actually use word of mouth. Most of them are, "Hey, girl, who did you let do your taxes this year?" or whatever. So I would say if you're going to go that route, at least let it be someone that you trust their opinion. As a friend of mine used to say, "I trust who you trust." Let it be someone that if you're going to get opinions from other people, let it be someone that you would trust whoever they recommend, because this is your personal information that we're talking about here. You can also check credential information on the IRS website. It will at least let you know who's actually authorized to e-file taxes. You can check reviews on Google. Some are on social media. Some have websites. You can go to those websites and just kind of look at some background on the person that you are potentially selecting to do your taxes, or you can
Mhm.
actually call them and just ask some questions maybe to see if they're knowledgeable about taxes before you just decide, hey, I'm just going to go here. So those are some different ways you can determine who you feel comfortable with preparing your taxes. But most people deal with word of mouth, asking a family friend or someone. But I would say if you go that route, definitely let it be someone that you trust, who they trust, and someone that is serious about their personal business and their personal finances, and that they just won't go anywhere. Some people like to hop around from tax office to tax office year after year. I would not recommend, just actually um, depending on their opinions, because they don't really know. They're just kind of hopping around. So that would be my suggestion. But research is very, very important. Research to get to know them for yourself.
Okay, okay. So now let me ask you this. Okay, so
Hmm.
that's for the personal. Now let's get over here
Hmm.
to them entrepreneurs. Okay, 'cause that's where the loan work gonna fall
Right,
in. Okay,
right.
I don't file, like, we don't file our taxes. My wife and I, we don't file our taxes until April 14th at 7 p.m. That's when,
I
and
understand.
and if we can, we looking for an extension. So
Right,
because
right.
we already know what's about to happen. But for entrepreneurs, give them three things that they need to do before walking into that tax office.
You need to research who's doing your taxes. Number one. Number two, make sure you have all of your tax documents. And number three is very, very important, which is something you need to do all year. Keep up with your expenses. And I put an asterisk by that and say, get you a business account and keep it separate from your personal. I can't tell you the number of people who have one account, one bank account, and they're doing everything out of it. And so when somebody like me is sitting down going through these bank statements, we're having to cipher through, what's personal and what's business. And you end up missing out on a lot of credits, because some of it is kind of substantial. We don't know for definite if we can actually use that, because we
Right.
don't know if it's personal or if it's business. And so keeping your finances separate is very, very important. That's probably at the top of the list, because if you would do that, then you would save yourself a lot of headache, and you will make it easier for whoever is going to prepare that return as well, to make sure all of your credits are available, all of your deductions, everything you're eligible for. It makes it
Mm-hmm.
a lot easier to find those things when you're organized. Keep up with
Mm,
it and keep it separate from your personal stuff.
mm. Now that's running a business right there. Keeping it separate, keeping it
Yes.
separate.
You know,
Okay.
as let me just add this, as a former tax auditor, the easiest way for business owners to actually to lose money, actually to be defrauded by um, their own personal, accounting or whatever, is because they don't keep up with anything. And so it's best to stay on top of your finances. You might not know how to do the return, but keep up with where your money is going, because you don't know who's embezzling money from you if you don't keep up with anything. And we have seen so many cases in the past of people who have lost money because they put too much trust in other people to handle their finances while they were trying to run the business, and they didn't know enough about their own finances to realize that somebody was actually stealing money from them. So
Wow.
definitely keep that in mind.
So that just don't happen in the sports arena. It's everywhere.
No, everywhere, yes, definitely.
Okay, okay. So, we about to get ready to come to a close here in a minute. And I want to thank you for coming on and like just sharing that knowledge with us, giving some word this morning as well. So like you covered all three, cream, Christ, coaching, and confidence. So you exemplify what cream means and stands for, and cream is a
Yep.
series of books that I'm putting together right now, and they
Cool.
should be out in 2022. But
Awesome.
before I put that series out, I just wanted to bring some people on, and you talked about network earlier. Like my network is huge. Like when I say
That's
huge,
great.
it is huge, and I didn't realize how huge it was until I started just putting down people names that I know who are doing
Yeah.
something, who are successful. And I'm like, man, like let me create a platform to where like people they look at you, but they don't even really
Hmm.
know how you got there. They don't even really know what you went through. And
Right.
sometimes they'll be like, sometimes I've had people to say, uh, like, oh, you in coaching? Oh, I can do that. And it gives them the confidence, and so I don't know
Hmm.
who's gonna see this episode and be like, man, if Dr. Price can do it, why can't I do it? I'm
Right.
I'm from I'm from
Right.
I'm from Colquitt, Georgia. I'm
Right.
about to graduate high school. Why can't I do it?
That's
You
right.
know. And so I'm
That's
I'm
right.
glad you came and you blessed us with that. Any last words or last advice or anything like that you want to share with the people?
Uh, well, I will say, if it's something you want to do, don't allow other people to talk you out of it. If you feel that this is something that God has truly placed in your heart, go for it. As I stated, had I said no or turned around because of what other people said I couldn't do, I wouldn't be on this journey now. I wouldn't be where I am today. I would not be, headed in the direction that I'm headed in. So if it's something you want to do it. Stay true to you, because in the end, you don't want to live your life and get to the end of your journey and think back on all of the things that you wish you would have done. You want to leave life without feeling like it still owes you. You want to leave life knowing that it owes you nothing, that you put it all out there, you put it all out on the line, and you don't regret anything at all. Just live life with no regrets. If it doesn't work out, then that just means it wasn't for you, but you can always keep going.
Mm. I definitely like that. Definitely like that. So, Dr. Price, tell the people where they can find you at. Where's your tax business located, and where can they find you on your social media platforms?
Okay. Tax business is in Colquitt. I'm everywhere. 75, Interstate 75 is probably my home. I'm in Colquitt, Georgia, on Highway 27. You can locate me on my website at www.pricetame.com. That's PRICETAME.com. I have a podcast. It's called The Reflections Podcast, a She-Grown experience. On Anchor, Spotify, Google. You can also find me on Twitter and Facebook at Dr. TT Price. And, you know, I'm just here. One day I could say I got a wiki. You can find me on my wiki.
All right. So, hey, everybody just find out where you can find Dr. Price at. Please hit the like, the subscribe, and share
Yes.
button. Okay. And please
Yes, yes.
also, you can find us on Anchor. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I've been flipping on Anchor, but now I'm all over Anchor. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. I think we just got on Buzzsprout. I believe that's the name of it. But we're
Cool.
on Facebook. You can find Michael Patterson, or you can go to the Impact Media channel. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter at Coach Pat239. My Instagram handle is, I believe it's at the Impact Group, or at Impact Group. That's MMPAK GROUP. And then also you can find this recording on YouTube, and that's at the Impact MMPAK Media channel. So please go there, subscribe, hit the like button, share, all that good stuff. All right, Dr. Price, once again, thank you.
Thank you.
God bless y'all. And